לשמך עליון. מזמור של יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר הזדהר, באמונת בלילות, עלי אסוב עלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור של יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור של יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי ישמי אדוני בפועליך, ונושא ידיה ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור של יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור של יום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר.
עבדו את אדוני בשמחה, בואו לפניו ברננה, עבדו את אדוני בשמחה. בשמחה בואו לפניו ברננה.
Hopefully, just as we ended last night's service, you also feel filled with joy this morning, and to be able to worship God with gladness and with lots of singing. Last night was, even though it was 6:30, it's corresponding with our more traditional Friday night service, and so there was only a little guitar. In fact, that was the only thing I think we played on a guitar last night.
I think so. And I'm just realizing you're probably all watching Tot Shabbat right now, at least the title, because I think we didn't update our titles on Restream. But never mind, don't worry about it. You're not watching Tot Shabbat. You are in the main service today.
It's wonderful to welcome so many of you from all of our Ark Synagogue community, and also this morning Ruth Seeger, the chair of Liberal Judaism, who will be joining us in Kiddush afterwards. Will have a few words to say, and then just to engage in conversation with us as well. Shabbat Shalom, Ruth, and welcome to you, as with everybody who joins us. And our way of joining together within the community is to communally put on a talit, whether it is a physical one or a metaphoric one, to feel the embrace of all of us in all of the sanctuaries that we dwell in right now. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. And please do make sure that as well as donning your talit, you are singing along and reading along with us throughout the service. Ma tovu Please be seated. Eternal God, we come before you surrounded by members of our community. With them we share our happiness and it becomes greater, our troubles and they become smaller. May we never be too mean to give nor too proud to receive, for in giving and receiving we discover you and begin to understand the meaning of life. Let us not separate ourselves from the true strength of our community, the experience and wisdom of old people, the hopes of the young, and the examples of care and courage which sustain us. Give us an open mind and generous heart to welcome those who need us and to admit your presence into our daily life.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bigvura. We should revere God in all that we do, privately as well as publicly, acknowledge the truth and speak it in our hearts. Sovereign of all worlds, we lay our supplications before you, relying not on our merit, but on your abundant mercy. For what are we? What is our life? And what our piety? What our goodness and what our strength? What can we say in your presence, eternal God? Are not the mightiest of us as nothing before you, the famous as though they had never lived, the learned as if they had no knowledge, the wise as if without understanding? For most of what we do is futile, and our life on earth is but a span. Our superiority over other animals amounts to little, for all is vanity.
We join together. Baruch Shema v'haya ha'olam. Baruch Hu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamehulal b'fi amo. Meshubach umfo'ah b'lshon chasidav v'avadav. B'shvachot u'v'zmirot. Nigadeh lecha v'namlichecha malkeinu yachid chei ha'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai melech mehulal b'tishbachot. At dawn and dusk I seek you. Reach out and look to you. With soul athirst, I yearn for you. I am a beggar at your door. The galaxies cannot contain you, yet you dwell in my innermost being. I hold your glory in my heart. My love for you exceeds my speech. So I will praise your name, Eternal One, as long as your breath of life remains within me. As we read together, Baruch Adonai le'olam, Amen va'amen. Baruch Adonai Elohim Elohei Yisrael, Osei niflaot levado, Uvaruch Shem kavodo le'olam, V'yimaleh chavodo et kol ha'aretz. Amen va'amen. Nishmat kol chai, tevarech et shimcha.
God of all ages, of all generations, of all creatures to whom our praise ascends. You guide the world with constant love, your children with tender care. To you alone we give thanks.
it is written, all my bones shall say, who is like you, Eternal One? Therefore we extol you and proclaim your glory, and praise your holy name, as it is said, praise the Eternal One, O my soul. Let all that is within me praise God's holy name.
Adonai malach geod lavesh, lavesh Adonai, od hitata atikol tevel baltimod. Nachon kisachar me'at, me'olam ata, naseu naharot, Adonai, naseu naharot kolam. Yiseu naharot doch yam, mikolot ma'im rabim, adirim mishpreyam, adir b'marom Adonai. Edotecha le'enu me'od, לבית הנאווה קודש. אדוני לאורך ימים, לאורך ימים.
Please rise. We say together, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאר אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו. שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בשירי זמרה. Seated. And this morning we better read together as we missed out last night. We praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, Maker of lights and Creator of darkness, Author of peace and Creator of all things. In your mercy you give light to the earth and all who live on it, and in your goodness you renew creation continually, day by day. How manifold are your works, O God! With wisdom have you made them all. The world is full of your creations. Your handiwork proclaims your praise. The radiant stars bear witness to your glory. We praise you, O God, Creator of light. And for those of you who are on our Facebook groups, you will have seen what we're experiencing outside our windows of our synagogue sanctuary in Northwood. Both the blossom of the trees outside and also the beautiful flowering of the clematis in our survivor's garden. For those of you who are not on Facebook, please do feel free to message me. and I'll send you the photos of what we're experiencing of creation this morning in Oakland's Gate. And with all of that, there is a great love of which we should read together. Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching, make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. We praise you, O God. In love you have called your people Israel to serve you. Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Please be seated.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Good and beautiful and true, sound established and enduring are these words now and forever. True it is, eternal one, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song.
Michamocha, Baalim Adonai, Michamocha, Neda Bakodesh, Nora, Tehilo, Hose, Fele, Nora, Tehilo, Hose, Fele.
שירה חדשה, שבחו גאולים לשמחה על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו, ואמרו,
Adonai, Yimlo, Leolam, Vaed, Adonai, Yimlo, Leolam, Vaed. Zu Israel, Kuma Bezrat Israel, Go Aleinu Adonai, Tzevaot Shemo, Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, God Yisrael, God Yisrael, Yisrael.
please rise.
Adonai Tzevatai Tiftach Ufi Tehilatecha. Adonai Tzevatai Tiftach Ufi Tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise. Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
את גיבורה לעולם שדי, מחיה מתים את רבה להושיע, משיבה הרוח ומורידה הגשם, מזריחה השמש ומורידה הטל.
Mahakalet hayim b'chesed, mahaya metim b'rachamim rabim. Somechet noflim, rofet olim, umatira asurim, umakayemet emenata lishenei afar. Milchamo balat kavurot umidom Allah.
נאמנה את להחיות מתים, ברוכה את שדי, מחיה המתים.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו.
כבודו מלא עולם.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
From your concealment, majestic one, reveal yourself and rule over us, for you are our hope.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated.
ישמחו במלכותך, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי שבת וקוראי עונג. המקדשי שביעי, המקדשי שביעי, כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך. בהשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו, בהשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו. הנדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה בראשית.
And we continue together. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts that we may serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal one, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath.
רצה אדוני אלוהינו, בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך, ביראה נעבוד. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
Shalom, Tova, Uvrecha. Sim Shalom, Tova, Uvrecha. Sim Shalom. Shalom Tova Uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed Shalom Tova Uvracha. Tova Uvracha. Tova Uvracha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Osei HaShalom. We'll take some moment for silent prayer.
Yehi ola ratzonim reifi. Yehi ola ratzonim reifi. Vehegyon libi lefanecha. Vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzori v'goli. Adonai tzori v'goli. Tzori tzori v'goli. Tzori
Sometimes it's worth just leaving a little pause after such harmony and feeling the harmony of the world around us as many are sharing. Maybe Rabbi Leah just got her first whiff of pollen.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, not the first whiff of it. The hay fever is coming back with a vengeance.
But certainly not from the sanctuary here.
Hopefully
That's
not.
our little secret. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear and learn to revere the Eternal One, your God, and observe faithfully all the precepts of this Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn of the Eternal One, your God. Please rise.
V'cha'enenu b'toratecha, v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha, v'yachet levaveinu le'ahava u'lira et shamecha.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlul Adonai Ti and Aroma Moshemo Yachdav. Let us magnify the Eternal One. Together, let us exalt God's name.
Lecha Adonai Hagdulah, v'hagvura v'hatiferet, v'hanetza v'hahod. Ki ha b'shamayim u'va'aretz, lecha Adonai hamamlecha, v'habit naseh lehol l'rosh.
This morning we are reading from the opening chapters of the book of Leviticus, focusing this morning, I think appropriately, on the well-being blessing, the Zevach Shlamim. But let us say the bracha together. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chabanu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. And we'll be reading from chapter 3, starting at verse 1, and Rabbi Aaron and I will actually share the Torah reading. So we've each got our own yad, don't worry. And Rabbi Aaron will move out of the way while I swap over. And you should in a moment be able to, our Torah cam has frozen. 1 second. Let's just get that restarted. Rabbi Aaron is looking after the, no idea why that froze.
We'll try it again and see what happens.
Let's see if our Torah cam will come back.
It would be such a shame because the picture was so clear.
It will come back, don't worry, it will come back. So, let's see. Let's have the Torah come back. There we are. We just need to go to the right column. There you are. Now you can see it. And, no. Somehow this camera moved a bit, I think. There we are, that's better. So this is chapter 3, verse 1. Ve'im zevach shlamim korbano, im min habakar, hu makriv, im zachar, im nekeva, tamim yakrivenu, lifnei Adonai. And if his offering is a offering of well-being, as zevach shlamim, if it's of the herd, if it's of the cattle, and if he shall bring one of the cattle, whether male or female, he shall bring an unblemished one before the Eternal One. V'samach yado al rosh korbano, and he shall place his hands on top of the head of his offering. V'shachatu petach ohel moed, and slaughter it at the entrance to the tent of meeting. V'zaku bnei Aharon hakohanim et hadam al hamizbech saviv, and the sons of Aaron, the Kohens, the priests, they shall splatter the blood or sprinkle the blood onto the altar, all around the altar. As my Hebrew class observed, they shall do a really good job at it. Vehikriv mizevach hashlamim ishel Adonai, and from the well-being offering he shall bring a fire offering to the Eternal One. Et hachelef hamechaseh et hakerev ve'et kol hachelef asher al hakerev. And he shall burn the fat that surrounds the entrails, and all the fat all over the entrails. So all the fat shall be burned. Ve'et shtei haklayot ve'et hachelef asher alehen asher al hachesalim. And the 2 kidneys and all the fat that's on them, which is upon the loins. Ve'et hayoteret al hakeved, and the protuberance of the liver. I have absolutely no idea what that actually is. Al hakelayot yesirena, which shall be turned from on the kidneys. Vehiktiru oto bnei Aharon hamizbecha, and the sons of Aaron shall turn it into smoke, into incense, ketoret is incense, into well-smelling smoke, al ha'olah, asher al ha'etzim, asher al ha'esh, on top of the whole burnt offering, which is on the wood, which is on the fire. Isher reach nichoach ladonai, it shall be a fire offering of pleasant odor to the Eternal One. Ve'im min hatzon korbano, and if his offering is from the herd, from the little animals, the flock. That's it, the flock. Lesevach shlamim ladonai, as a well-being offering for the Eternal One. Zachar or nekava, tamim yakrivenu. Whether it's male or female, it shall be unblemished what he shall bring. Im kesef hu makriv, and if he brings a lamb et korbano as his offering, v'hikriv oto lifnei Adonai, he shall offer it before the Eternal One. V'zamach et yado al rosh korbano, and he shall place his hand on top of the head of the offering. V'shachat oto lifnei ohel moed, and he shall slaughter it before the tent of meeting. Interestingly, not at the entrance to the tent of meeting, slightly different wording. V'zarku bnei Aharon et damo al hamizbeach saviv. But nonetheless, you shall do the blood splattering, the sons of Aaron shall do the splattering of its blood all around the altar again. V'hikriv mizevach hashlamim ishel Adonai, and from the well-being offering, he shall bring an offering of fire to the Eternal One. Chelbo ha'eliyah tamima leumat ha'etza yesirena. So all the fat that is on the tail, which shall be separated right at the backbone, ve'et ha'chelev ha'mechaseh et ha'kerev, and also the fat which covers the entrails, ve'et kol ha'chelev asher al ha'kerev, and all the fat in general which is on the entrails, ve'et shtei ha'klayot, ve'et ha'chelev asher alehen, and the two kidneys and all the fat that's on them, asher al ha'chesalim, ve'et ha'yoteret, al ha'kavet, al ha'klayot yasirena. And again, all the which is on, the kidneys which are on the loin, and the protuberance of the liver which are on the kidneys, all these shall be burned together. Vehiktiro hakohen hamizbecha, and the priest shall turn them into smoke on the altar. Lechem, it shall be as food or bread. Ishel Adonai, the fire offering to the Eternal One.
Ve'im eis korbano vehikrivo lifnei Adonai, and if it is his offering is of a goat that is brought before the Eternal One, v'samachet yado al rosho, then one will place his hands upon its head, v'shakatoto lifnei ochel moed, and again slaughter it before the tent of meeting. Perhaps they didn't want it right by the entrance house, because if they were going in and out, there'd be a bit of a bloody area there. I'm not too sure if that's something to do with it. V'zarko b'nei Acharon et damo et al hamizbeach saviv, and Aaron his son shall sprinkle the blood around the altar. V'hikriv mimenu korbano ishel Adonai, and make it a fire offering towards God. Et hachelev hamchaseh et hakerev ve'et kol hachelev asher al hakerev ve'et shtei haklayot ve'et hachelev asher alehen asher al haksalim ve'et hayoteret al hachabed al haklayot yisarena. Taking all of the flats that Rabbi Lee has already talked about, and we won't go through them all again. The hiktir ram, but shall turn them into an offering of odor. Hakalchen hamizbechal lechem ishe l'reach nichoach kol hachelev ladonai. All of the fat shall be turned into a sweet savor for the Eternal One as a fire offering. Now, the one difference that you can find within all of these three different offerings, the one little bit of different detail that you get relates to the one of the flocks. It gives us indeed a little bit into, it's a bit like farming today that you get. If you ever wake up early and listen on a Saturday morning, as I do every Saturday morning, to Farming Today, you can hear the farmers talking about various different aspects of agriculture. I haven't heard them yet talking about a broadtail sheep. But this is what is apparently talked about here. Apparently the broadtail, we know now that this is the regular flock of the ancient Israelites, at least whenever this part of the Torah was written, was so heavy that in some Near Eastern texts it was suggested that little carts had to be put behind to actually carry the broadtail, otherwise the sheep may collapse, I assume, or just go backwards like that, I'm not too sure. But that broadtail, there is a bit of disagreement. The rabbis said that you could eat of it. The Karaites said, no, you're not allowed to eat of it. It was all fatty and therefore should be burnt up for God. The lechem that Rabbi Leah was talking about for God, the broadtail there. So if anybody can post up in our hubs any kind of photos of broadtail sheep, then I'll be very interested to see it later on, but preferably one which is whole and has not been slaughtered. Chukat olam ledorotechem. It is a law. All of this is a law for all generations. Thank the Lord that it isn't today, but I'll look forward to seeing the photos. V'chol moshvotechem, in all of your dwelling places. Kol chelev v'chol dam, lo tochelu. But in all of your dwelling places, any blood and any fat shall not be eaten. Phew. Well, welcome to the book of Leviticus. Joe was grimacing a little bit through that portion, as we may do for the next couple of weeks. But let us say together the blessing after reading the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Please rise.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
We now come to Haftarah reading, which is a special one for this Shabbat, it being Shabbat Hagadol, of which a little bit more in a few moments' time. But for now, let us read together the bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha b'nfim v'im tovim, v'ratzah v'divreihem han'emerim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'Torah, u'v'Moshe avdo, Yisrael amo, u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
And I think, Richard, we can have the liturgy go away even. So this is from Malachi chapter 3, starting at verse 4. Then the offerings of Judah and Jerusalem will be pleasing to the Eternal, as they were in the days of old, as in years long past. Then I will draw near to you for justice. I myself will be swift to witness against sorcerers, adulterers, those who swear falsely, those who extort the wages of workers, oppress widows and orphans, and who thrust aside strangers. All those who do not fear me, says the God of heaven's hosts. For I, the Eternal One, have not changed, and thus you, the children of Jacob, have not ceased to be. From the days of your ancestors you have strayed from my statutes and have not observed them. Return to me, and I will return to you, says the God of heaven's hosts. Yet you say, in what way do we need to return? Can anyone cheat God? Yet you do cheat me. And you say, how have we cheated you? In regard to tithes and sacred contributions. You are cursed with a curse, for you are cheating me, the whole lot of you. Bring the full tithe to the storehouse, so there is food in my house. Test me in this, says the God of heaven's hosts. Will I not open heaven's windows for you and pour down for you a limitless blessing? I will rebuke the devourer for you, so that it does not destroy the fruit of your soil. Nor will the vine in the field be barren for you, says the God of heaven's hosts. All the nations shall count you happy, for you shall be a land of delight, says the God of heaven's hosts. Remember the Torah of Moses, my servant, the statutes and ordinances I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal, to turn the hearts of parents to their children and the hearts of children to their parents, lest I come and smite the land with destruction. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Eternal.
And so we say our blessing together after reading the Haftarah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav, emet v'tzedek. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'Shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha ve'limnocha, lechavod u'letifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umvarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai, tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, makadesh ha'Shabbat. Would you please rise?
Eternal God, whose dominion is everlasting, we ask you to bless our sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth, and to guide the government of this country. Help us to be good citizens, working together for justice and peace at home and abroad. Bless this holy community and all holy communities, and support the life and work of all who labor for their welfare.
We ask you to listen to our prayers and look kindly upon us, supporting those who are troubled, consoling the bereaved, sending relief to those in pain or anxiety. As you blessed our fathers Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, and mothers Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel and Leah, bless our own congregation, all other congregations gathered in prayer, and everyone who responds to the needs of the community.
O God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessing for the state of Israel and all who live there. Give wisdom and understanding to its leaders, and friendship and compassion to the people, so that there may be lasting peace on its borders and in its homes. Soon may your promise be fulfilled, for Torah shall come out of Zion and the word of God from Jerusalem. May such be the divine will, and let us say, Amen.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado.
Hodo al eretz v'shamayim, v'yarem keren le'amo, tehila l'chol hasidav, livnei Yisrael am krovo.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given you. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. be seated. Shabbat Hagadol, the great Sabbath, the Sabbath that precedes Pesach, the reminder to get preparing for the memorial and celebration of our redemption from Egypt and the first steps towards us becoming a people. It may fill you with joy, and it would be understandable if this year it's falling a bit flat. Expectations being low and disappointment and fatigue wheedling into the fissures of one's body, mind, and soul. Shabbat Hagadol traditionally features the longest sermon of the year, with the rabbi reminding the congregation of the multitude laws of Pesach and whether your favourite chocolate bar was kosher for Pesach or not this year. So, bonus number 1, consider yourselves lucky that I don't do long sermons, and minutiae of halakha is just not my bag. This Shabbat is named after the words we have just heard from the prophet Malachi. See, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the Yom Adonai, Hagadol v'Hanorah, the great and terrible or awesome day of the eternal. This day of final redemption is seen as a parallel to the redemption from Egyptian slavery. Hagadol, big or great. Or, as we learnt in Tot Shabbat this morning, if you have a thesaurus, you can come up with lots of different words for great. And here are just a few. I can't do the yellow one. It doesn't quite work very well. Colossal, I think mammoth and monster work very well with the tots as well this morning. But what of Norah? Well, it can, as Rabbi Leah translated it from the Plaut Chumash, mean terrible. And that certainly has not such good connotations for us. But of course, it can also mean awesome. Which one will it be this year? The first day of the month of Nisan, that this year was on Monday, is one of 4 Jewish New Years cited in the Mishnah. The first of Nisan New Year is derived from God's first commandment sanctifying the new moon. This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you. It is the moment when tradition understands that the Israelites did not rely on God, but took it upon themselves to make a watch, or at least the precursor, to tell the time. They took action. They took it upon themselves. And tradition also understands that they took action today, marked by Shabbat Hagadol, by selecting the lamb that would serve as their Passover sacrifice. In that way, the Israelites participating in their own redemption. It is up to us whether we are to take action today, to start getting excited about Pesach. The potential for this Pesach to be a letdown is huge, but we have the opportunity to redeem it, and with it, us to take action and participate in what could be an awesome Pesach. Shabbat Hagadol 5781 is the day to decide to make things gadol, big and great, and to resolve to make Norah stand for awesome. I do not underestimate the task. Many of you have described the feelings that I admit I've shared of a foggy brain, being unable to concentrate, and listlessness that Yiddish captures perfectly in feeling a little bit schwach or meh. Yet if you take one small action, it will lead to another. If you are not already engaged with our project postcode, then see page 5 of Devar and contact Susan Whaley. She will connect you on WhatsApp with your synagogue neighbours. Not only is there excitement in being connected, there is palpable uplift in being heard and seen, because sharing photos is a big thing on those groups, arranging a walk in the park, and more when we are allowed and feel comfortable. Our wonderful care coordinator, Omar Portillo, and the care team have such a super series of weekly and monthly activity. Every day, there is the opportunity to connect with one click to fellow congregants, friends, and if you like, the people of Israel. You may do so for the subject matter, building resilience or different ways of thinking about depression, but it might simply be the action of being there with others. And of course, Omar, our care team, Rabbi Leah, and myself are here for you. And if you just want to talk Pesach preparations for this year and how you're going to celebrate, then get plotting and sharing ideas. Oh, and by the way, if you are local to Northwood, I've just popped into the greengrocer on the corner and they are going to be getting in lots of horseradish for us. They got the parsley already, but they're now onto the horseradish as well. Ritualizing our lives in community means that we express ourselves, our lows and our highs, with each other. It helps us to look out the window and see the blossom on the tree, the busyness of the birds, the shoots of renewal, and thank God for a new day, even the potential of a new kind of year beginning in Nisan. This year, perhaps Shabbat Hagadol is here, not for us to learn about all the laws of Passover, but to resolve to take action to make this a real new year, a time when we get living again. Now is our time for preparing for Pesach, our redemption. Let us get on and take action so that tomorrow morning and the next, we wake up to say, Modeh u'modah ani lefanecha, ruach chai v'kayam, shechechezata binishmat, b'chemla, rabba emunatecha. I thank you, the living and eternal one, for restoring my soul to me and for your faith in me. Amen.
And so we return to our liturgy and to our concluding prayers with the Aleinu. If you would like to stand, please stand.
Aleinu leshabech la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו.
אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא
שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס סולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
As we turn to the Kaddish, if there are names that you would like mentioned for the Kaddish, then please do post them in the chat as well. There are stars whose radiance is visible on earth, though they have long been extinct. There are people whose brilliance continues to light the world, though they are no longer among the living. These lights are particularly bright when the night is dark, they light the way for humanity. And on this Shabbat, we think of the yahrzeits of Avril Estelle Goldstein, the mother of Sarah Goldstein Opasiak and Natasha; Beatrice Siegel, the mother of Barbara Fraser; Brian Allen Black, the father of Caroline Sampson; Lawrence Bresnark, the father of Vanessa Burl and grandfather of Francesca and Gabriella; Lily Berg, the mother of Judith Rose; Mari Driffel, the mother of Duffy Aarons, mother-in-law of Terry, grandmother of Debbie and Phil, great-grandmother of Lily, Matt, Josh, and Poppy; Pearl Ekowitz, the mother of Sharon Downs and grandmother of Natasha; Philip Cope, the father of Vivian Dines and grandfather of Gemma Knight; Rita Lowy, the mother of Claire Francis and Michelle Lowy, and grandmother of Simon, Adam, and Thomas; Samuel Julius Reuben, the father of Rachel Hughes. And we are saddened to announce the recent deaths of Anne Thompson, the mother of Mary Reynolds and Eleanor, and Lionel Rubens, the husband of Lily and father of Karen Grout and Elaine Howlings. Zichronam livracha. May their memory be a source of blessing for all of us, as we say together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach Yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran balma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol b'nei Adam, v'imru. Amen.
May the Most High, source of perfect peace, grant peace to us, to all Israel, to all humanity, and to all those who mourn. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. In a few moments, we conclude with Molder Ani. And Rabbi Leah, we're going to be turned off in 52 seconds if we don't press a button over it on the TV.
Oh, on the TV. Okay, I will make sure.
And please make sure to come to Kiddush to greet Ruth Seeger, the chair of Liberal Judaism, who will be joining us this morning. We had, we reckon, over 150 people studying with us this week. If you want to learn more, all the details are on our website, arksynagogue.org. Or you can just email into the office. We didn't do our one, Ruth. It doesn't matter. Thank you again, as ever, to Joe and to Ruth for making such beautiful music this morning, and to all of you who I know who were singing and creating such amazing harmony with us. For Richard for really battling with everything this morning to bring us some sound and vision as well. Before we go down the route of David Bowie, let us join together in singing our thanks that we are here today, that hopefully our souls have been restored by being so. As Howard had said earlier on, feeling positive about what is to come for us, and knowing that together we will all be able to enjoy and to celebrate this Pesach, and then into the future to be able to look forward positively.
Rabbi
We give thanks to you, living and eternal sovereign, that you have returned our souls to us with compassion. Great is your faith in us. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom and see you at Kiddush.
לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון. Shabbat